Abbatacola and Ferrari discuss everything. With Matt Abbatacola.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I'm sorry I ruined your New Year's Eve party. She tastes like cigarettes.
And Jason Ferrari.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Two complete nincompoops with microphones and access to the World Wide Web. Presented by Mickey Finn's Brewery in Libertyville, Lake County's oldest brew pub. Now, here are your hosts for this shit show, Abbatacola and Ferrari.
Hello, friends, and welcome into the inaugural podcast of Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything. We're very glad that you are listening to our show, and we welcome you. We are presented by Mickey Finn's, Lake County's oldest brew pub, located at 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville. Follow them on Twitter at Mickey Finn's, and we're glad to have them on board as our presenting sponsor. I am Matt Abbatacola. He is Jason Ferrari.
Hello, everybody. We're excited, man. First podcast. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, so let's get rolling.
Our goal for this podcast, we want to get out there a couple, 3, 4, 5, 12 times a month. We'll see how the spirit moves us as we get the podcast going. We certainly have done a lot of work and preparation. We are actually at Jason's apartment in a studio designed and designated just for this podcast.
It's true. And there's, as people have seen on Twitter, a drum set that, I don't know. I think, I can't remember who asked, but I said they might get a rim shot or two just because rim shot makes me laugh. But
and then you might play the drums too.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're going to look up rim shot on Urban Dictionary. I'm sure it's something gross.
So we're going to talk about everything and anything that we want to talk about. Hence the name of the show, Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything. You can follow us on Twitter at AFDE Show. You can connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/AFDE Show. And you can email us. You have comments about the show or show suggestions or topics, whatever it might be. Feel free to communicate with us through email at afdeshow@gmail.com. I see a running thread there, a common thread of AFDE Show. Keep that in mind. Memorize it, know it, learn it, make it part of your everyday life. So as far as the podcast goes, we're going to talk about anything we want to talk about. Hopefully you love what we talk about. You stick around and listen to us and tell all of your friends and family members and coworkers all about the show. So here's how Jason and I connected. We met 16 years ago at what once was the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, which is now the Illinois Media School. We were taking classes together, started back in January of 2001, and quickly became friends, knowing that we would be lifelong friends, which we certainly have remained to this day, 16 years later. So much so, Jason has recently got married. I actually officiated that wedding ceremony. That's how close we are.
It's true. And for those of you who know Matt well, I was fully expecting just me to be roasted and then like brief vows at the end, but he actually did an amazing job. And you do it kind of as side work too. So if anybody is looking for someone to officiate their wedding, Matt did an excellent job and he's really good at personalizing it. So it was an honor. He's a great friend, and I can't wait to get this thing going.
Yeah, if you do need someone to do your wedding, maybe you're not a religious person, don't have a church you attend, don't have a family pastor or someone that you would ask, and you want a stranger to do your wedding, I certainly would be open to doing that for you. You can just email us, afdeshow@gmail.com. No, that's how I get a lot of business that way is through like word of mouth. People at a ceremony I do, and they're getting married and don't have someone to marry them, and I'll go just about anywhere. It's going to cost you. This isn't free, that's for sure, because it's well worth the money that you will spend. And then plus it's legal too. I'm actually an ordained online minister, which maybe you didn't know that. But yeah, I got ordained online. I don't remember how long ago now. It's been maybe 7 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7, 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
A friend of mine and his wife wanted me to marry them. They asked me. And that's why I did it. So I actually got ordained to do their wedding, and then from there it's it's grown. I haven't tried to get business out of it. It just do it, for friends and word of mouth. So,
well, yeah, man, for some extra scratch and to make some new friends, make some new memories. I do actually, just from because I've been working in marketing for a while. So from that standpoint, I really want to just see like a pitch that just says, "Do you want a stranger to do your wedding?" Just in that context, and just watch the bride's face.
So you're saying that's a good idea? That I should go that route?
Oh, totally. Yeah, she should do just like a guerrilla marketing campaign based on strangers and weddings.
Don't attend a church? Want a stranger to do your wedding? I'm your guy, Pastor Matt.
Yes.
Or as your friends from Downers Grove all knew me as Father Matt.
Yeah, and he wasn't really a father, but clearly there's a lack of understanding, and I thought it was funny, so I never corrected him.
Not a father in the religious sense, a father in the parental sense with my daughter Abigail, but Father Matt was my name with all of your circle of friends who I got to know and became my friends by being friends with you. So if you've listened to me before on the radio, you know me as Matt Abbatacola from 670 The Score, formerly of 670 The Score. I spent 16 years with CBS Radio. That was my internship while I was at the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, was The Score. And then my internship turned into a part-time job for 2 weeks. I actually worked, 2 part-time shifts. Then after 2 weeks of part-time work, they offered me a full-time job doing the Murph and Fred show in the mornings. And then I did that for 2.5 years. Got to a point where I quit every day. I went into my program director, Drew Hayes, and I literally would quit every day. And I would tell him, "Hey, Friday's my last day. I'm done doing this. I can't work with Murph anymore." Then in August of 2003, I was promoted to executive producer of the Boers and Bernstein show. And at that time, I think we were 8 to noon. Then we eventually were working 10 to 2. Then eventually 2 to 6. And then eventually 1 to 6. And I worked as the executive producer with B&B for over 13 years. My final day producing that show was January 5th of 2017 when I became the afternoon update anchor. And then my final day at The Score was May 10th, 2017. So just over 16 years with CBS Radio, one station.
Yeah, I like when you were wrapping it up though, the goodbye show to Terry. That was awesome. If you want to touch on that a little bit, that was honestly I think both of us, having worked in radio and just being radio fans our whole lives, that was one of the coolest broadcasts I've ever heard. Just from a recap and how many people just love and respect him. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was great. Terry's a radio legend, certainly was a Score original, did 25 years on the air, and we developed such a great friendship and relationship over the years, and I wanted to give him the proper farewell, and that's final show, January 5th, Terry's farewell show. My final day as a producer in the Score, at the Score, was an amazing show. It had 30 plus guests in 5 hours, and it went off without any issues. And a lot of that is due to my partner Chris Tannehill, who ran the soundboard for the final 6 or 7 years. I don't even know how long we worked for. 5 years. I don't even know. Sorry, Chris. Don't know what it was. But
it's definitely beast mode.
No, dude. That dude
producer.
is the best in the business as far as production is concerned. He is certainly underpaid and underappreciated, 100%.
In addition to the other 95% of people in radio,
99% of people in radio.
I'm giving the people who have contracts the talent.
Right.
They get the scratch.
So that show went off. It was flawless in the execution. That really has a lot to do with Chris being on the board. But it was an exciting day. It was a fun day. And as I talked about being on the show with Terry in the final hour, because I listened to it not too long ago on the podcast, and it was great. And so many people just love Terry, and we had such a great friendship that developed. And if you didn't hear that show for whatever reason, and you were a Score listener, I don't know why you wouldn't have heard it by now, but you should definitely check it out and hear all of Tannehill's production work that went into that. As well as all the old school guests. It was cool because my boss there were no restrictions, and I said these are the guests we're going to have on, and from Mike North who left the station not on the best of terms with management, and you could probably blame both sides for that. He was a guest, and it was great to hear him on the station. McNeil, who left the Score and went off to do other things. He was brought back, and there was no, you can't have that guy on, you can't have this guy on. I was able to do anything when to do.
It would make no sense if people who were the originals were kind of like the founding fathers of the score and just that whole kind of genre in Chicago. There was no sports radio, and they combined like such personality, and it was amazing. You know what I really liked about it too is if I use myself as an example with the score. I mean, like I used to listen all the time, but I was friends with Matt, so I would listen more to kind of hear what goofy shit he'd be doing. But you know, then it.
Can we swear in this?
Oh, it's a podcast. Yeah.
Can we say shit?
Well, yeah. In the intro, it's our good friend Mike, who did the intro for us, says shit show. So I feel like that's
so we can swear on podcasts.
Sets the precedent. Oh yeah, man.
Well, that's exciting to know.
Yeah, we just can't be super vulgar, or iTunes won't accept us. But, you know, but
shit's acceptable.
Shit. Oh yeah, it's good. I mean, whatever. So. No, but I kind of checked out from the score a bit just because it got a little redundant with the same conversations, fans bitching about whatnot because Chicago teams have been poop lately.
You checked out?
It is what it is. Yeah,
you checked out of the station.
Yeah, but what's nice?
Two of us.
Yeah, actually, Matt and I would kind of talk while he was there, but. You know, it was awesome to listen to because even if you weren't a score listener from the beginning, there were people that you know from Chicago radio history that were just all a part of it, just telling really cool stories. And it's something that you could just jump on that day and still really get a lot out of that broadcast.
My favorite part of that show was when I had all the old score guys together at one time. You had Terry up there and McNeil and Jiggets and North and Brian Hanley and Tom Scher all together. That was awesome. And that just goes to show, you know, management give me the freedom and the liberties to do whatever it is I wanted to do to give Terry the best possible show to say goodbye to Chicago radio. And you know, to go back to me checking out of the score, no, I mean, there's zero hard feelings. I mean, those are still some great friends over there and people I admire and respect and love and always will. I needed a break of sports and a break from sports talk. I would get out of my shows even if I hosted or if I was doing anchor, you know, doing updates or if I was producing. When 6 o'clock hit, man, I was not listening to talk radio to begin with, and certainly not sports talk. So I would need to decompress, and it was always music. I even got to a point where on my phone I downloaded the sound effect of a box fan.
That's what I thought. I remember you sent me a text.
I would listen to the hour and 10-minute train ride back to Libertyville. I would listen to white noise. That's all I would listen to, just because I needed to get away from that. So I've checked out from the score, and I've actually over the last couple of weeks have gone back in occasionally just to hear things when big stories have popped. To hear, you know, Pat and Ron do the Cubs games, which is still, I still don't believe that Cubs broadcasts are on the score, which is still. I still don't believe it, and they won the World Series on the score last year. So yeah, don't read anything into that. No hard feelings. I just needed to get away from it because I just did not want to listen to and or talk about sports for a while.
Anything that happens here is not bad mouthing the industry by any means.
Oh no! If I do bad mouth the industry or someone at the score, or you will definitely know because it will not be
we have
hidden or unknown.
Zero reason to sugarcoat anything.
Like the fact, like I'll tell you this right now, like Bernstein, for example. I love Bernstein. I do. I think he's a super talented guy. And some of the best nights, like going out socially because of being at the score or being on road trips. I've had great times with Dan, and we have
definitely
great, engaging conversations.
Different outside of a studio.
But yeah, but dude, I also hate his guts too, and I love him and hate him all at the same time, and I always will. But respect the guy immensely. But one of the biggest turds I've ever met in my life. Also, one of the best husbands and best dads I've ever known in my life. On top of that, and I definitely took advantage of his wallet at times. Especially over the last couple of years, we'd go out and I'd be like, dude, our last Bourbonnais trip was the best. So we're in Bourbonnais, and me, Tannehill, Joe Dredge, and Bernstein. So the four of us are together, and we go to a bar, and I'm like, I'll order drinks. What do you guys want? Go up to the bar.
Oh, I remember this.
And I order drinks, get the 4 drinks for the 4 of us, and the bartender will be like, all right, you want to open a tab? Yep, sure do. Can I get your credit card? Like, all right, this is Bourbonnais, but I mean, like, you need my credit. Okay, like, we're going to run out on you. You know, for the 4 drinks that cost a total of like $9. Sure, I'll get you your credit card. I'll be like, I'll be right back. So I go to Dan, like, Dan, need your credit card. And he the first time he goes, oh, am I buying this round? No, I need your card to open the tab. It's going to stay at the bar until we're done.
And close the tab. Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
And you know, gets his wallet out, gives me his card, up to the bar, close out that bar, go to a second bar. I'm like, what do you guys want to drink? Same things. Go to the bartender. Let me get these 4 drinks. I want to open a tab. Sure do. Need a credit card. Hang on 1 second. Hey, Dan, I need your credit card again. Oh,
am I getting this round?
Am I getting this round? No, you're going to get this tab again.
Every round.
So then the third bar we go to, he finally caught on. Hey, Dan, need your credit card. Yeah, here you go. He had it like waiting. I'm like, good man. At least you're trained now. We went out one night, just him and I went out for drinks. There was an opening of a new restaurant that my guy from the Food Network, Jeff Morrow, the Sandwich King, he opened up a restaurant. I can't remember what neighborhood we were in, but we went out afterwards after the opening for drinks. And it was just, hey, Dan, you're buying these drinks, by the way. And the best part about it was our final bar tab, it was $83. If you listen to the B&B show, then you know 83, how important that was to us. And it couldn't have been better that our tab between the two of us was $83.
Like
I know, it was
weird,
great.
Fortuitous stuff, man. That's amazing.
Well, we were drinking. We might have had some shots, maybe. I don't know. So that's my history in radio. 16 years of the Score. So we obviously, I said that we went to the Illinois Center for Broadcasting together, and then you took a different route in the radio jobs.
Well, yeah,
which is the more normal route. Actually, I'm the anomaly. Actually, I'm the lucky guy.
You are. Matt is definitely, for anyone out there who is attempted or who is attempting. It's a tough racket. It's
terribly tough.
Well, it's a tough racket in general, and then throw into the fact that we're in the 3rd largest market in the country, and then throw in the fact that it's a very tenured business. So people don't leave. And I don't blame him, honestly. When I was trying to get in at first, I was like, oh, my God, you're old. You got to just go. But then when you get in, like Matt was there for, pushing 20 years, you understand that people don't leave. You hold on to those jobs.
Well, part of that, too, you hold on to them, and also management recycles old bad talent, which is great.
Well, yeah, exactly. Someone gets let go from a station, and they're on another station within days.
Right, because they were successful a decade and a half ago.
80s, 90s,
right.
Yeah.
So let's bring them back here.
I mean, it's a built-in audience, but yeah. Anyway, like I said, we're not trying to throw fire on it. It's just, so my start, I actually interned at WCKG 105.9. At that point, it was all talk. When we grew up, it was classic rock, and then had some big guys, like big namers on there, Matthews and Steve Dahl and stuff. So I interned there, and there just wasn't a spot. So my first job out of broadcasting school, Matt and I joked. It's so ridiculous, but I said, I'm going to get overnights on just some station I can't stand. And my first job, thankfully, Illinois Center for Broadcasting had a really good placement director, and he worked at Light FM. And he's like, "Do you want this job?" Yeah, of course.
Take any job that's offered in radio.
I needed to build experience, and that's fine. So I ended up working 6 to midnight on Saturdays, producing playing music, and I would do some live reads for the first 3 hours, and then 9 to 12 was Casey Kasem's Countdown.
Oh, nice.
So
it wasn't Delilah.
No, that was the only night that she's not on. Because that one I might have turned down. Like, if I had to produce Delilah, that would have been, I would have been at rock bottom when I was starting. So that's not something that I was trying to do.
I think you and Delilah could have had a history together. I think you guys could have had a life together.
Oh,
maybe.
God. Yeah, no.
Because, with as compassionate as a person as you are, like she was, and sympathetic, and just the empathy, you could hear the empathy in her voice for people's dire sorrow and situations. You definitely are the same type of person.
What's funny is, though, you and I are exactly like that, just with different presentation. I will do anything for people that I love, but I will bust the shit out of their balls too. I don't care, man. It's people.
I've seen you bust the shit out of people's balls.
Yeah, just with a mallet.
Yeah,
kind of like Gallagher with a watermelon.
But balls.
Yeah, balls. So. Yeah. Okay. Now we need to just figure out words that we can fit into segments.
Right.
Just balls repeatedly.
Well, make sure you check your grocery list on the refrigerator there when you get a chance. I might have added something.
Oh, great! Did you see? Do you like what it says?
Various light bulbs.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you have on there right now.
I wrote that because the bathroom light bulbs keep going out, so we need light bulbs.
Where the trough is?
Yeah, where the trough is. Okay, that's painting just a horrific picture.
You have a beautiful apartment. It's a great apartment. We'll get into that. So finish your jobs, and then because the trough thing has got to be
so. Radio wasn't paying. I had
What?
Yeah, I know. It's shocking. So I had a pretty strong sales background and, kind of fought the good fight. But unless I had to move, which some people do, God bless them, I couldn't. I'm close to my family. I didn't want to leave the state. So I kind of went off and did something else. And then years later, I had an instance in my life where I had someone pass away just out of nowhere. And, you have one of those moments where I said, all right, you know what? I went to school for radio. I love it. I want to get back into it. So I just went all in. And I was living in Lincoln Park. So when you're all in radio and trying to pay for a Chicago lifestyle, you need more than one job. So I ended up having 7.
Not at once.
7 jobs at once for 2.5 years.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, and truthfully, it was one of those things where it scratched that itch for me. It was what I needed to do. I learned everything about it. I worked for all different kinds of stations, music and talk, had some really cool experiences. And then something else that I know we're going to get into kind of what we're doing now, but something else came as a result of it that really kind of shaped my future. And I shifted away from radio, but I did it. I can't ever say that I didn't do it. I mean, I went all in. Matt would visit me sometimes when he'd work nights at the Score. I'd be board opping, like doing production.
Country station
or Jack.
K-Hits or Jack.
Actually, when Jack FM switched to K-Hits, Matt was working till midnight, came downstairs, and was standing next to me in the studio when an email came out that said the format is changing.
Was that Eddie and Jobo?
Eddie
email?
and Jobo, yeah. It was just the weirdest thing that Matt was standing next to me when I'm like, holy shit, like, look at this. And my first thought, though, wasn't like, wow, that's kind of cool and interesting. It's like, oh, God, do I have a job?
Right.
So.
Oh, that's right. Am I out of work now?
Oh, crap. But, yeah, so, it was a really killer board op. But, no, different path, but Chicago radio nonetheless. And I think it was super cool. I'm thankful for it. But now I think as a result of that, and Matt and I meeting in school, obviously, is how this came together. And this is something we've wanted to do for a long time. So I'm glad it actually finally came together.
Yeah, now we have the opportunity to do it. So my last day at the Score was May 10th. Since then, I have taken some time off work and was just kind of hanging out and didn't really have a particular direction I wanted to go. I was sending my resume out all different places and all different things, was kind of open. I figured I eventually would land in sales in some capacity, in some format, some industry, and that's what I did. I got interviewed and got hired from a company in Des Plaines called the Journal and Topics Media Group, and they ran newspapers. It was a family-owned business since 1930. Had a couple interviews, was hired to sell print and digital media to local businesses. And eventually my territory ended up being Elk Grove Village and Rosemont. I did that for all of 20 days, 20 actual work days. And, I was enjoying the work, and I was getting to learn the business and getting back into sales mode, and, was going to do really well. I closed some accounts up in the 20 days that I was there. And in 20 days, and ended up finishing with a little over 18,000 in sales, only because I had one big sale that I closed in Rosemont.
All without an email address or business cards. So
right.
Matt's a closer.
Or really how to do the job.
Or training.
Right.
Training of any kind. Here's a phone book, and we have like a Apple IIe in the back.
I was basically, so my first day, it was like, here, you need to watch, there's a series of 5 training DVDs, watch the first one, and I did that. And then my boss was like, here are 5 businesses. I want you to go talk to them and try to sell them ads eventually, just start relationships. And it just kind of threw me into the deep end of the pool. And I was like, cool, I can do that. So I enjoyed the time. And you're asking, why are you talking about it as in the past tense? Well, because today was actually my last day. 20 whole days. What happened was my oldest brother passed away on July 4th. And I'll talk about that later on in the show. Ran into someone who was really important in my life when I was in high school, my old high school youth group director. This was a guy who, wasn't a paid position, wasn't a guy who was a pastor of a church, but he ran the high school youth group in the church I grew up in, and we became super close. He was a mentor to me, a father figure in many ways. Ran into him at my brother's wake. he said we should get, what are you doing now in life? We should get together and talk and, just reconnect. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. We ended up going out for dinner. At the dinner and hanging out with him, I just thought we were just catching up socially. He offered me a job with his company. It was an opportunity and something I just could not pass up. So I'm currently, as of, what is it?
Well,
what day is Thursday? Tuesday, officially Tuesday, the director of sales and marketing for HealthGuardian.com. The Health Guardian, and it's a health supplement company, and it's a business that he started out of his own home, several years ago, and is at a point that it needs to grow and blow up, and that's what we're going to do. So that's my current position is the director of sales and marketing for the Health Guardian. It's HealthGuardian.com, and I'm super excited about it. I know you're excited for me about it because it's an unbelievable opportunity.
Yeah, that phone call was actually a text.
Yeah,
followed up by a phone call.
I need to talk to you.
Yeah, I was sleep. I don't know. I fell asleep. It was like 9 or something, and I missed him calling me. And then I woke up and saw a text call me to that story. So, and ordinarily, I mean, if most of you probably don't know me at all, but I really like to. I like to process. I don't make quick decisions unless the situation requires it. So I would probably be like, okay, tell me all the details and do all this. And he did. I'm like, yeah, there's no way in hell you can
say no to this.
But yeah, I actually worded it because I like people to, I'm not making the decision. So I just kind of said, hey, how you feeling about it? And the funny thing is Matt and I are just complete morons. So, we're both like, let's figure out my title. And, we took it about 9 levels above. I don't have the job yet, but in a good way. So actually it all worked out, and I'm super pumped. I think you're going to kick ass at it. And everything about it, the business model is just super cool.
Yeah, so I start that officially am hired and have the job at start next Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to getting that rolling. And yeah, so that night after I talked with him, I talked with you, and I talked to you and I talked to my girl about it. That was it, because I wanted to get both of your takes on it. Because I respect, obviously, your marketing and sales background, and respect what she's doing in her own business. So just wanted to get perspectives from you guys about it, and knew it was the right decision to make, man. And I really felt that it really came together, leaving the score, and then, taking a tragic situation like my brother just passed away unexpectedly, but being able to reconnect with someone who was so important in my life. I mean, 30 years ago. I just really knew that there was a greater purpose and plan to it. So
there are some, I as my wife will attest, I definitely I'm not the guy who buys into the destiny or things were meant to happen, because I don't know. I always hear that, when something bad happens, and I'm like, yeah, but something bad always happens. So why is this meant to be? But the whole the full circle story of this is unbelievable, and. That is, I mean, I have 2 younger brothers. Like, this is Matt's oldest brother. The fact that some kind of a tragic event can actually, be something that is beneficial. But I think that, like, this is really good for you. This is really good for your family. This is really good for your kids. Like, just a horrible, fast life event you turn it into something.
Yeah, because I mean,
positive.
I'm excited to see where the company goes and where we grow as a team. I mean, Harry has got such great expectations and confidence in me and enthusiasm for even the stuff we've talked about at a little level right now. If I can look back, maybe down the road, a few years down the road, and I see where the company grows, and if we reach my goals, it's going to be unbelievable. If I can look back and say, this wouldn't have happened without running back into him or seeing him through the tragedy of losing my brother Mark, and if he didn't make the decision to be there for my family that night and say, I want to, come and give my condolences and see you guys, and it was great to see him. If I can look back and say this came out of that, and that's one of the things that came out of it, one of the positive things. And again, I'll get into it a little bit more, because that was, man, what the wake and the funeral were just unbelievable. A testimony to the life that my brother lived. So now you currently are doing, because we talked about you just moved back from Madison. So where are you at in life?
Yes. Oh, well, I guess the tweet said I moved back from Madison and we're doing the show. So, basically, I've been doing freelance marketing for a long time. What's funny is how I got to this point was there was a internet radio station years ago. Well, it's still on now. I'm not on it anymore.
Webio?
Yeah. No. Oh God, I totally forgot about Webio. No, Chicagoland.
So it was not Webio.
No. ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. This was back in 2010 and 2011. Brendan McCaffrey, who is now the assistant program director at the Score. Actually, he's been doing it for years. That's kind of when our show ended, when I'm like, yeah, you have a lot more responsibility now.
Actually, so he is the assistant program director. That should be his title, but he's titled sports director at an all-sports station,
and
which doesn't make any
sense.
It's
been that way since...
Oh, Zampillo was sports director. Matt Fishman was sports director.
Yep.
Andy Garcia, the Burrito King of Chicago, was the sports director. And like WBBM AM, a news station, has a sports director. That makes sense because you don't do all sports. So an all-sports station having a sports director makes zero sense, and then just the idea of someone directing sports.
Well,
talk sports.
The hierarchy
at the sports station. Okay.
Hierarchy, pay, everything.
Well, I think because I think you have to pay
sense.
more to an assistant program director,
which is insane because there are sister stations on multiple floors right around them where people carry that title and do the same thing.
Right, we talk about people being underpaid. That dude is grossly underpaid for the amount of work he does and just the amount of time he's there. Oh my God,
talent.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was lucky enough to do a show with BMAC for, I don't know, we did it for about 2 years. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, unless
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, unless schedules didn't allow one of us because we were both hustling in radio. So sometimes, we needed subs. Matt subbed in, I think, twice for Brendan when he had to work. But yeah, it was amazing. And through that, I made some friends, kind of just being, Matt and I are very similar in the kind of going out and about and we'll network, but it's almost like accidentally. We're not out trying to make contacts. It's just we like to talk to people and you end up making them. So I met someone who was a friend of my roommates and said, hey, you're on the radio. Would you be interested in emceeing a charity event? I said, yeah, absolutely. Like that. That's the kind of stuff that I wanted to come from it. I mean, you get into radio and you want, and there's a part of you that wants the fame and wants the money and wants all that stuff. But once you get in, you understand that that's kind of not what it is. And you need to be a hustler and you need to work really hard. And sometimes it'll happen and sometimes it doesn't. But if you get to do any kind of charitable stuff, like Matt has done a ton of from the Score, it's really cool. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. And it ended up being like a singles kind of auction, with it was like 6 guys and 6 girls, and everybody kind of brought their own charity to the mix. So it was really cool. So it was not just one, it ended up being like 13 charities. And one of the girls who ended up, was in the dating thing was like, hey, I've been listening to your show since it started. I didn't even know her. So that's already weird. I'm like, what? You've been listening to our internet show?
Right.
She's like, okay,
about
cool
sports?
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
No, she's like, well, but she said, I don't even listen to it for sports. Like, I just think you guys are hilarious. And I was like, well, that's super cool. I mean, on Wednesdays, we would do funny porno titles. I mean, it wasn't all sports. But anyway.
So you're like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Why are you buttering me up?
No. And so she said, I work for a digital agency. At the time, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, is it like robots? Like, why is it a digital agency? I didn't get it. So she's like, no, we are a digital agency. We work with Kenmore and Craftsman. I'm like, okay, I know those brands. And we just signed Nike, and we need someone to run our social media, and it needs to be someone who knows how to write, who knows sports, who knows the city, and who just can put a personality and a voice to it. And I thought of you, and I'm like, all right, well, I like Facebook, but I had a MySpace page. I was too old to have a Friendster account.
Well, I think are we getting a MySpace page for the show or no?
I don't. I don't know. Does it still work?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, if it does, yes, because that's just hilarious. If you guys will, that's really, we're just going to chuck Twitter and email.
We're trying
Facebook
to bring MySpace back.
Just really give MySpace the boost that they need.
Yeah, I think it's been gone for too long.
So, and anyway, I was like, okay. I went in for an interview, talked to people at Nike. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Took the gig, turned in 2-week notice to 7 different radio jobs, and I've been kind of doing it ever since. I mean, that contract was supposed to be 3 months. It ended up being 18 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked for one of the biggest, coolest brands on the planet.
No, and you got me to I emceed that charity softball game.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do that, and I was
North side, south side, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'd love to do that. And not only did I have a great time doing it, it was a total blast. I walked away with like 5 pairs of Nikes because the one chick was like, what size shoe do you wear? I'm like 12. She goes, here, put these on for the event. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
She goes, you can keep them. Then I was leaving, and she was like, hey, come on, let's get some more shoes for you. And I'm like, do you want these back? She goes, no, I said keep those. Here, take some more. She goes, just pick whichever ones you like. If there's your sizes, take them. I'm like, okay, that'll work.
I worked for them for a year and a half. I got 1 pair. Anybody who did events like
I walked away with 4
they're
or
like,
5.
hey, yeah, do you have a trunk? We're just going to fill up your car with all these freaking shoes.
Here, take size 10. It's close to your size. Yeah. We want to give these to you.
I was going to say, you can put these on your hands. We don't care.
Doesn't
we just want to
matter.
give them away. So yeah, I ended up doing that, and then ever since then, I've been doing freelance marketing. So, and I've worked with startup companies, mid-sized, large companies like, I don't know, Logitech, Hyatt, things like that, and it's been really cool. But now that I'm back in Chicago, I'm looking to get into something a little bit more not freelance. So, if I can get locked into a contract and something, or I don't know, who knows? Maybe I'll end up working with Matt because this opportunity is really cool. So we shall see.
Yeah, and what we have planned and what our goals are for this podcast, we're going to do this consistently and hope we can grow our audience. We eventually want to do shows out on remote. We certainly will hit our presenting sponsor, Mickey Fins. We already talked with Brian Grano over there at Fins, and we're going to do live shows there. We are open to suggestions and offers about
invites,
taking our show on the road to record our podcast at different locations. We really hope to grow a big following with the show. Our eventual, professional goals and what our dream together would be, and we've talked about it, and we have it somewhat in the works on a minor level as far as like websites and that kind of stuff, and emails and social media accounts. We eventually are going to have a foundation that brings people together through sports and competition to raise money for various charities that help sick children around our country. That is what we're going to do, and I'm hoping my new job allows us the opportunities to eventually one day put all of our full-time efforts into this charity. We already have a name for it, and it's a great name, and it's going to be a great endeavor that we hopefully can launch next year. That's still my plan, is to get us going next year, and we'll talk more about that as the podcast goes on. So that's who we are, how we met, where we came from in radio, and what we look forward to doing together and doing together for you as our loyal listeners. You are listening to Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything. This is our inaugural podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at AFDE Show. Back after this. Welcome back into Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything, our inaugural podcast here. We're glad that you're listening and part of it. We are presented by Mickey Fins, Lake County's first brew pub, located at 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville. You can connect with them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mickey Fins Brewery. He's Jason Ferrari. I'm Matt Abbatacola. Now, Jason, you've gone through a pretty big transition in life. Oh, before we get into that, I just want to let people know.
Just the way that... I'm new.
You're not allowed in the military now.
I'm new to being Jason.
Right? No. Donald Trump says you cannot serve the military because of your transition.
Son of a bitch.
Our first segment we did of our inaugural show here, we wanted you, our audience, to understand who we were, how we connected, what our history was, what our background in radio was. In case you don't know both of us, that was what we wanted you to know. Our podcast moving forward will be topical and current and entertaining and fun as hell. So it won't be all about just who we are in our background. We wanted you to know exactly who we are in case you didn't know. But back to your transition in life, because you recently moved and recently got married.
Yeah. So
minor things in life.
a couple of news.
Nothing important.
No. Nothing like, I got a new pair of Converse. I got, as Matt and I talked about, I got married back in May to where Matt was the officiant. And I lived in Madison for almost 3 years, moved up there to no longer have to deal with do you hear something?
Sounds like someone banging their prison bars.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, exactly. I think, what is it? What's the prison thing? With the cans, like the thing.
With their tin mug.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tin mug they drink out of.
I can't remember what the saying is. Anyway, yeah, got married, and talked to my wife into finally moving back to Chicago, which is where I'm from. We live in Andersonville.
That's where we are. Andersonville.
Yes, we're in lovely Andersonville neighborhood of Chicago. So. Yes, moved in on June 30th. The place is finally organized, and as Matt said, we're standing in a DIY studio with like acoustic foam on the walls.
Let's do it yourself.
Yeah. I recently heard someone say DIY. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, I worked on it with someone. I was like, wow.
That's terrible.
That's just bad.
I didn't quite get the DIY network for a while. I couldn't. What if that network's all about? Oh, it's the do-it-yourself network. Now, did you or did you not do the trough yourself in the bathroom? Because when I first came to the apartment here in Andersonville, which is it's a gorgeous apartment, really nice place you got here, I walked into the bathroom and I felt like I was at Wrigley because there's a giant trough there. And I don't know if I should wash my hands in it or if I should make pee-pee in it. I wasn't sure what it was all about.
Minus the pubes and the dudes. I mean, it's IKEA's version.
Minus peeing next to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Hip to hip.
Hopefully there's no one in there also. And the trough is my sink.
I did invite you in. I said, Jay, you want to pee next to me?
Well, yeah. When we first moved in, I'm like, Trish, what the hell is it? Because usually if it's a two-person sink, it's like double sinks.
Right.
This is just a giant-ass sink. And there's like
three people could...
You just stand there and wash your hands next to each other, brush your teeth, but it just seems dumb. But it's troughish. It is.
It is really troughish.
And but thankfully there's we don't have to put ice in it that somehow is pink. I just remember from Wrigley and Soldier Field the ice is pink.
I don't remember that.
I don't know how the hell that is, but it's not where the dicks hang out. Only on an individual level it is.
Right. But yeah, not as a group.
No team dicks.
Yeah, I always hated the troughs at Wrigley.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but still. Yeah. Are they still there? I don't even know if they're still there after their remodel, and I'm not even sure.
I don't think they're getting rid of those.
No.
I mean, it's almost like they can't get rid of all the nostalgia, so they're going to modernize except for like the ivy and the shitty troughs.
Because I'm thinking, as my last several visits to Wrigley, I've always gone pee-pee or made tinkle at what once was the Captain Morgan Club, which is now something different. I don't remember what it is now, but it was the Captain Morgan Club, and the beauty of it was go in there, get yourself a regular cocktail, go back to your seats, and I would always make a pit stop there while getting a beverage. So I haven't gone into a regular wait in line bathroom at Wrigley in a while.
Yeah, it's not recommended. The last time I was actually there was last September for the Foo Fighters, which was... it was just unbelievable. Concerts at Wrigley are really cool.
They do great concerts. I've been to all of one. Back in 2009, I went for Billy Joel and Elton John. And a buddy of mine, DJ Jeremy Wallace, he invited me out, had an extra ticket, so I went with him.
From the lodge?
From the lodge.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have, it's not a ticket I would have bought on my own. He said, I got an extra one. I'm like, yeah, I can go. I got nothing going on, so I'll go.
Yeah.
And that was easily, not that I've seen dozens and dozens of concerts. I'm generally not a big concert guy. The best concert I've ever seen. And a close second was the Kenny Chesney concert I saw, only because that dude performed for like 3.5 straight hours. Like, he did not stop or take a break. He was unbelievable.
Some of those guys won't like until the ordinance says you need to shut down.
Yeah.
They'll just keep going, and I love it.
Yeah, but
I mean, hey man, I paid for it, and if this guy wants to keep going, hell yeah.
He was great, but the Billy Joel Elton John thing was unbelievable. And Wrigley was it's a great venue for a concert.
I went to, I don't know if it's there anymore because of all the construction and stuff, but the 7-Eleven that's like across from the entrance.
That's gone. I think that's gone.
So yeah, my friends
sure
and I
gone.
stood in the parking lot with 40s and paper bags listening to the whole Elton John, Billy Joel concert.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, the cops were like, well, whatever. Like we just stayed in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They said, just don't walk around. So yeah, we kept buying really bad beer and hanging out there.
My first concert ever, I was 10 years old, so it would have been 1983, and was at Poplar Creek.
Oh yeah.
And it was Herbie Hancock. In March, my friend Chad York and I went. His parents got tickets, drove us up there, dropped us off, and we're like, all right, have fun. And I didn't tell my mom at the time that Chad and I were there alone. She would have freaked out. But it was the middle of March, and I remember we had to spend all our money on ice cream. We were eating ice cream, and it was cold outside. And yeah, Herbie Hancock. That was my first ever concert.
My first concert was at the same venue, Poplar Creek, and it was New Edition.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed you to be at a New Edition concert.
Oh, I mean, well, New Edition, Herbie Hancock. I mean, I think you and I were both listening to these cassettes on boom boxes. So yeah, but my parents were actually like really cool in the sense that if I would say, hey, here's what I'm listening to, my dad would be like, okay, if you listen to that, or if you make me listen to that, then you listen to this. So they would always take me to shows. And I'm like, I want to see New Edition. Who, for those of you who don't know who the hell that is, they morphed into Belle Biv DeVoe, and I believe there's a movie out about New Edition. Not too long.
Really?
One of those original about movies. But anyway, yeah, that was my first show. But then I got them to take me to a Whitesnake concert at the same venue.
Nice. Of
which we were just surrounded in like a cloud of weed. And I didn't know what the hell it was. And they were like really uncomfortable.
So how old would you? What year would that have been?
That was like 87, 88, something like that.
That's great, because then in 87, my second concert I ever went to was at, what was the Allstate Arena?
Rosemont Horizon.
Yeah. So the Horizon, and it was Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet tour, which was 1987, because I was 14.
Well, yeah, because the tape came out, album came out in 86.
And my buddy Jason Newton, his dad was a Chicago cop and was working the concert, off-duty Chicago cop.
Yeah, they did security.
So we got tickets, so I went with him, and that's my first experience with weed, because the dudes in front of me were smoking these strange cigarettes, and I'm like, God, those don't smell like my dad's cigarettes.
It smells like skunks.
Because my dad smoked Pall Malls. And I remember the little packs, and we would always go to my Uncle Bob's house, Uncle Bobby.
Blue and white Pall Malls.
Uncle Bobby would smoke Lucky Strikes. My dad had Pall Malls. Oof. And I mean, you're talking about the nastiest unfiltered cigarettes you can find, and then these dudes are smoking these weird things.
Smoking worse cigarettes.
Man, they don't smell like my dad's cigarettes. Those are really strange.
There's like
that was weed.
Yeah, we were just in a cloud of skunk. I didn't know. The funny thing is, I guarantee I had a contact high. I was just laughing and had a great time watching Whitesnake, and their opening band was Great White.
So you would have been what, like 12, 11, 12?
87 was my. Let me think. 89 was my freshman year, so I was in 7th grade. So I was. What is 7th?
12
13.
Years old? Yeah,
13.
12, 13? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was 14, Slippery When Wet, and Bon Jovi did a thing where he like rode like a zip line over the audience, and it was still 1987. So imagine like the hottest chicks in 1987. That was pretty cool. I mean, there was a cool aspect of being at a Bon Jovi concert.
Well, people I think are super down on, like, obviously, well, you don't. Again, this is an introductory podcast, but I am all about 80s rock. I love it. I had my 40th birthday party, had an 80s theme party. My dad showed up with a ACDC shirt that he got at Kohl's that day.
Big Al at ACDC.
It was amazing. But anyway, so just a big fan of it. But if you hadn't seen any of those shows, there was a spectacle. It was amazing. They put on like all these crazy ass light shows. Girls are just like taking off their shirt. Like it was. I've never seen anything like it, and I guarantee I've been to at least 200 concerts, at least.
Seriously?
And I've never seen anything like those shows, ever. Like the 80s was amazing. I mean, like
200? Like actual concerts.
Guarantee it. Yeah.
I would have to go through and think, and I'm old and don't remember well, but I could count the number of concerts on both hands that I've been to because it's just not my thing.
At one point, pretty much anyone who would play at Alpine Valley, because my parents back in the the 90s into the early 2000s had a condo in Lake Geneva. So anytime anybody would play at Alpine, we would go, we would stay, and we would go. We saw shows like different bands on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like we would go to every show, and they were cheap.
Not for this podcast, our first one, but the last story you told me that when we were together, the Alpine story, and our buddy Dave.
Which one?
The security guards.
The
beer.
And the beer.
Don't tell that. We'll save that for another story. Right. But that's a story that'll have to be told.
Well, just here's just a couple of teasing words. Long blonde hair, surfer-looking dude, quarter stick of dynamite, and a glass of Coors Light.
And one of the most genuine, nicest guys you'll ever know in your entire life.
Oh, definitely.
So,
but you just don't want to be on anybody's bad side.
That's something. I'm going to jot it down to remind you to tell that in a future podcast because that is a story.
I love that story.
We're telling. We can tell stories about our run-ins with the law, and we'll start it off with that particular story because that is one for the ages. That's a story to be told.
Oh, and
I'm a grandpa one day, and I'll tell that story.
That whole day and night. There was more. Like there's totally more, and it was all him. Like the best, most hilarious parts of that day that started. For those of you who have been to Alpine Valley, you are allowed to start tailgating at 9 a.m. regardless of what time the show starts. So you can pull in, get as close to the gates as possible, park your car. You can barbecue. You can have a keg. You can literally do whatever the hell you want for like 10 hours before the concerts start.
I've done one show at Alpine Valley, and there was a massive rainstorm leading up to it. The parking lot was just a mud pit. It took longer to get into the parking lot waiting in line with cars than it actually took to drive up there.
No. And that's their thing, too.
Got in, parked.
Because they have one entrance.
Dude, it took so long. Missed the entire opening act. And the main act was into their fifth song.
What was do you remember the show? What was the show?
It was Rusted Root, open for Dave Matthews.
We were at that show. I guarantee it.
Seriously?
We saw him like 6 times, yeah.
So, got in. It was like he was on his fifth song, got a sandwich, ate the sandwich, turned around, got back in the car, and drove back to the lodge. I was like...
Wait, you told me that story when Matt and I did a practice run, and you told that story.
Dude, that was one of the worst nights. I will never, ever... I don't care if they brought Elvis and Frank Sinatra back from the dead and they were playing at Alpine, I would not go see that show. I will never go there again.
Oh,
that experience ruined me forever.
It's one of my favorite. Other than Red Rocks in Colorado, Alpine is my favorite. I've seen more shows there than anywhere else I
basically spent 5 hours driving, waiting to get in line for a beef sandwich.
That's
ate
same
it just to go
day.
back to the lodge.
That is a same day concert commute. You came from we drove 25 minutes because we stayed in Lake Geneva.
Yeah.
You came from an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And
then waited 3 hours to get
completely different.
Literally waited 3 hours just to get in.
Because that's the thing. Like I said, they let you in at 9 a.m. So can you imagine what the line's like when people are just showing up right when the show starts?
It was a good beef sandwich, but it wasn't worth all the time I spent.
For my money, the best beef sandwich is served at Alpine Valley.
Yeah, seriously. If Elvis opened for Frank Sinatra,
you're going.
I would not go.
Shut up.
I would not go.
You're going.
I would not go to Alpine Valley.
No, we're taking a limo and we're going to see that show.
No,
you're going.
If they brought John Lennon back from the dead and it was the Beatles and Frank Sinatra and Elvis doing a tour together, I would not go to Alpine Valley.
Yeah, I think you need to take a time out and just think that through.
You don't think I mean that?
No, not at all.
All right, so as we stand here in your beautiful apartment, as your lovely wife just walked in and interrupted our entire show, moving. Now, you didn't ask me to help you move, and that's what friends always do.
No.
Friends always ask friends to help them.
Not
move.
anymore. No, this is the first time in my entire life I've paid for movers.
Well, you were coming from a different state, so
yeah. Not only.
But you didn't even hey, meet us at the apartment, give us a hand. Nothing.
No. Well, I mean, because we were paying movers, so I don't. I used to do that too. I would help people move all the time. I honestly think that's what contributed to my back problems.
I would have helped you bring the couch up,
but yeah. So no, we paid for movers. I felt bad as these poor bastards were humping up 3 flights of stairs.
3
with
flights
all
of
their
stairs,
shit. Yeah.
no elevator.
Nope. Well, yeah, definitely no elevator.
Old wooden staircase.
Yeah, I mean, Trish and I made one trip up, and I was out of breath for like a half an hour.
That's because you're old and out of shape.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I had spinal surgery in December. I'm not supposed to be. I'm not sorry, I'm not a marathon runner.
I had spinal surgery.
I know
Right.
that minor shit. You know,
Right,
they
no
just
big deal.
they just took a piece of my spine and replaced it with a dead guy.
Better than taking a piece of your heart.
Well, yeah, that's true. It'd be weird if they put a piece of somebody else's heart in me. I'm already crazy. I can't imagine like a third personality.
You think you just have 2?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
I have 2 speeds.
I would say there's more than 2.
Nah, there's really no in between. There's my normal me and angry me. That's really it.
All right, so these idiots are moving your furniture.
Well, yeah, but these nice guys.
These poor bastards, I should say.
Sweating.
Right.
It was hot as fuck too, man. It was rough.
So tell me about the couch, because I love the text message I got from you about your couch
and the photo.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm like, how's the move going?
Yeah, the move was going fine, and I knew purposely, and I would have done this if I were the movers too. They waited until the last piece of, everything else was up except for the couch. Hey man, I bought a nice couch. It's like 8 feet. It's like the puffy. It's comfortable. We call it the vampire because it would suck the life out of you when you laid on it. Best couch ever. Everybody loves it. So yeah,
it was comfy. I remember being on it.
Chicago apartments, if you don't know, weren't designed for any kind of large furniture. So yeah, needless to say, they couldn't get it up the traditional way. There's 2 different flights of stairs. Not happening. I was like, all right, guys, is there anything else we can try? So a pulley system began and we were on the 3rd floor. So trying to like rope this heavy ass 8-foot couch up 3 flights, got it to 2, still not working. Yeah, needless to say, one of the movers is now the proud owner of my old couch, and Trish and I now have a new couch that was delivered a couple weeks after we moved.
Well, that's fine. So if you know what you could actually do, because I love interaction with our audience, and I always have. You can email us, afdeshow @gmail.com. Anytime we're talking about something that you've had a shitty moving experience, feel free to email us, and I will include it in our next podcast, just so you have a participation in the show. And, of course, now since you've been here, lovely apartment, it's all decorated, lovely, and not because of your lovely wife. It's done because of you. You are the decorator in the family. You've had nothing but great experiences here in Andersonville. So we're glad that you're back in Chicago, and we're glad that your moving experience is done and over. You have a new couch, and your living experience has been delightful since you've been here.
Yeah. No. Well, no. Okay, so we love the place.
After the show, maybe go for a bike ride?
No, I can't because got home from a meeting today, went in the back, and both of our bikes are no longer there.
That's great.
Yeah.
You text me today and we're like, yes, our bikes are gone. I'm like, oh, well, who's using them? What's going on?
Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, so I guess pending police report and whatever happens through our rental insurance, Trish and I will be proud members of the Divvy community moving forward because we have no bikes.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I rode a bike.
I used to do it all the time until I started having back stuff, and then
Yeah.
I just can't sit for that long, but I want to get back to it. It was one of my favorite things, especially in Chicago. Like riding along the lakefront is just the best. I love it. I miss it.
So here you are moving from Madison. Couch doesn't fit. Buy a new couch. Bikes are taken from the area where you're told to have them locked up. You do all the proper procedures and all the steps, and
Nice bike lock.
Bike is gone as well. Of course, bad things happen in life, and they generally tend to happen at the worst times possible. So I'd mentioned earlier in our first segment talking about my oldest brother who passed away on July 4th. So this is what was great, and all I could do, and sometimes when things happen, all you can do is laugh because there's really nothing else left to do. The Monday morning, the wake is Sunday night, receiving line 5.5 hours at his church in Elgin at the Harvest Bible Chapel. 5.5 hours. The church guesstimated about 2,500 people came through. to see his family, which was unbelievable. The stories I heard about my brother and just the testimony in his life was incredible. So the next day, 10 o'clock in the morning, was the funeral service at the church, Harvest Bible Chapel in Elgin. So I'm driving up 90. I'm driving in my 2001 Mitsubishi Galant. And you're like, all right, well, first of all, why are you driving a 2001 Mitsubishi Galant?
Why aren't you
grandpa
driving
car?
a 2001 Mitsubishi Galant?
Well, when I got the car, as old as it was, it only had like 38,000 miles. So how could you not have that car for no cost at all at 38,000 miles?
Free car.
Right. And, V6, had power, everything, and it was a great, great grandpa car, and it really suited me well. Driving it up, no issues with it, no problems. On 90, my brother's funeral is starting in about a half hour. I'm hitting the accelerator, I'm on the gas pedal, and the engine's revving, and nothing's happening. It's not engaged. I don't know anything about cars. I'm not a mechanic. I said, wow, something must be wrong with the transmission. So I pull over to the side of the road. Luckily, my daughter was driving behind me with my mom. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, no idea. Just got what I needed out of my car, hopped in her car, go to the service. Get to the church. Service is starting about 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. I'm like, what do? I call the state police because I knew I didn't have time to deal with getting it towed. I called the state police and I said, hey, here's the situation. I'm on 90, about a mile from Barrington Road. My car broke down. I left it on the side of the road. I'm at a church right now for my brother's funeral, which starts in 10 minutes. Is there anything you can do to help me out? Officer could not have been nicer. He was like, listen, we normally have a 2-hour window before we tow the car. I'm going to extend that to you as a courtesy. Deal with your issues, then take care of your car. I'm like, dude, you have no idea. That's a huge relief. It was going to be on my mind. I didn't want to be distracted with that because it certainly isn't something I want to deal with after the fact. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So a 1 hour of a bonus time. So basically, you're going to a funeral, and they give you an extra hour of getting back to your car and getting it towed, because clearly that's going to be top of mind.
So he said, we'll extend it for you, give you his courtesy. Great. I don't worry about it. After the service was over, on the way to the grave site, I called my guy in Libertyville and I said, hey, I had a problem with my car, blah, blah, blah. Can you get it towed? Yeah, Matt, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Not an issue. I don't think about it again the rest of the day. I don't hear from him the rest of the day. At this point, I just assume my car is going to be towed to Libertyville. I'll deal with it tomorrow.
God, this is unbelievable.
So the next morning, my mom is like, hey, well, whatever happened with your car? And I'm like, you know what? I haven't even thought about it. Wasn't even an issue. I'm going to call my guy and see what the deal is. Call him up. He said, oh, Matt, I was going to call you. The car wasn't there when the tow truck driver got there. And I'm like, what do you mean it wasn't there? He's like, yeah, the car was gone. He's like, the tow truck guy got there at 12:30. Car was gone. I'm like, all right, that's interesting. So I called the state police, and I explained the situation. It wasn't the same officer, obviously. He was like, oh, yeah, the car was towed at 12:15. And I'm like, 12:15? I'm like, all right, that's interesting. So what was the process there? What happened? Because I was told that I would be given an extended window to get the car, towed away and taken care of. And the guy was like, well, yeah, normally we offer people 2 hours to get the car towed. So in your case, it would have been from 10 a.m. to noon. And we towed the car at 12:15. So I was like, so you extended that window as a courtesy to me 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
And I'm like, my tow truck guy got there at 12:30. So it was a half hour after the designated window. So you extended it to me 15 minutes as a courtesy because of my brother who passed away. And I'm like, hey, what's the whole slogan about serving and protecting, the whole serving thing? I'm like, thanks for serving. My brother was a military veteran, served for 7 years in the Air Force, was in Iraq in 91 in Desert Storms. I really appreciate taking care of his family while we were there, celebrating his life and death here now. So thanks for helping us out. Really appreciate that.
Towing your Mitsubishi was a pressing issue.
So, dude, I had to pay the $156 in the Schaumburg Towing Company, and they did nothing wrong. They're just doing their job.
Right.
The $156 to have it released so my towing guy could get it towed back to Libertyville. Only then for my guy the next day to tell me that the trans was ruined and needed a brand new trans for $3,200. At which point I was like, yeah, don't even worry about it. I'm getting a new car.
Time for a new ride.
He's like, well, I need you to come in and you owe us a half hour of looking over the car, and then you got to pay the towing fee. And I'm like, yep, I will be there to take care of that. You hang on there, my friend. So sometimes bad things happen at the worst possible times, and all you can do is just really laugh it off because there's nothing else you can do when things are out of your control, man. You know? What are you going to do about it? Get upset, get angry, scream at the police, tell them that they should have done better by me, but whatever. What are you going to do? So, hey, I got a new ride out of it now, and it's all that matters. Everything's good.
What's the new whip? It's a Chevy Cruze?
I got a Chevy Cruze. I wanted something that was, I wanted a sedan, and I wanted a 4-cylinder just for gas purposes, thinking I was going to be driving around on sales calls a lot. And I'll tell you right now, 44 years old, this is the first 4-cylinder car I've ever driven and or owned in my life. And it takes some getting used to. The 4-cylinder thing was just terrible. I mean, it was awful.
Oh, it's like when you step on the gas, gerbils are running in a wheel, like powering the car. I had the first one back in the day. Actually, when we were at school, I had a Nissan, and it was like, what engine is this? And why do I feel like I could run faster?
It was not good. It's not. I mean, it's a great car. I love it. And the boys love it because I can hook up my phone, to the cable thingy, and I can play any songs I want, like on Spotify. And so when Jack's in the back seat, he makes song requests all the time. Generally, it's something from the Sing movie soundtrack.
Or is it the dog? What's the dog thing that or are they obsessed with it anymore? The Paw Patrol, right?
Oh yeah, but there's no. Yeah, we don't plan to play those songs. So they're picking stuff from the Sing soundtrack, and it's it's not good. But what are you gonna do? Although they do have some country songs they like. Hank has a song from Sam Hunt that he really likes.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know you hate Sam Hunt, but the newest one that is playing on more than just country stations now, Body Like a Back Road maybe is what it's called. And he does his typical singing rap type thing.
Boo.
But Hank loves it, so it's kind of funny that he sings it. And then
I would probably be entertained by it if Hank was singing
it. And then Jack has one, I'm Still Standing, from the Sing soundtrack that Johnny the gorilla sang, and all he asked for is Johnny's song. Can I have Johnny's song?
All right.
Want Johnny's song. Sure.
Whatever makes kids happy.
We'll do that for you, pal. Hey, that segment of Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything podcast was brought to you by...
Insert your business name here.
Yeah, for more information on becoming a part of this podcast, email our marketing team at afdeshow@gmail.com. When emailing, address the marketing team as either Matt or Jason, or Matt and Jason. This is the Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything podcast. Back after this.
Milk was a bad choice.
Welcome back into the inaugural podcast of Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything. Follow the show on Twitter at AFDE Show. You can connect on Facebook, facebook.com/AFDE Show. You can email us anything at all to communicate, afdeshow@gmail.com. We, of course, are presented by Mickey Finn's, Lake County's original brew pub, located at 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville. You can give them a call, 847-362-6688. Some of my favorite beers come from Mickey Finn's. The Pineapple Express, which is their double IPA, is delicious. And my favorite holiday brew, and holiday, I mean Christmas time, Merry Christmas to all of you when the time comes, is Santa's Magic. It's something they do, and you got to get in and check it out after Thanksgiving. They release it the day after Thanksgiving, which is always a great time to be at Mickey Finn's, and it is absolutely one of my favorite beers and certainly my favorite holiday brew of all.
That pineapple beer is...
I know you love the Pineapple Express when we had
outstanding.
Yeah,
and
I am
not,
great job.
Not an IPA guy, but it's one of those beers. I don't know. If you guys don't drink a lot of beers that are like infused with fruit, like that one is outstanding. However they do it, it gets rid of that. If you're not like a giant hop fan, like things that are really hoppy that have that significant aftertaste, awesome. And it's strong too.
Yeah, it's not super bitter.
Really good.
It's a little higher in the ABV, but it tastes great. It's super smooth. It's available year round, so it's not a special brew. You can go in there anytime and get it, and I certainly would make the trip if you need to. up to southern Wisconsin, which is Libertyville, where I live. Basically easier to get to Milwaukee than it is to Chicago, but it certainly is a
Little Kenosha.
A great place. Finn's has got great food and, of course, handcrafted beer, and Lake County's oldest brew pub, the original one, the first one. That Pineapple Express is certainly worth the trip, and the food is great as well. Always live entertainment on the weekends as well.
I was just going to say
always
that,
a great time. Yeah, it's a great venue. So it's their second location.
6 days a week, you said?
Yeah, they were just across the street, and then they moved into this new building, and it was designed and created for entertainment and the acoustics, and it's a great venue. They do private parties. They have a banquet room in the back. It's a great place. Brian Grano and his staff will take care of you very well. Really good dude, and just a great place. And just super proud that he wanted to be a part of our podcast as the presenting sponsor. So that's Mickey Finn's, 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville. So some things I wanted to get into today, Jay, talking about stuff going on in the world. And, we're going to talk sports. We'll touch on sports, but this certainly is not going to be a sports podcast, which is why we've called it We Discuss Everything.
Yeah, thank God.
Some things going on, though, in the world of sports right now. Game 4 of the Crosstown Classic, Cubs and White Sox. Game 4 at Guaranteed Rate Field. They do the split 2-2, 2 at Wrigley, and then 2 at Guaranteed Rate Field, which is a new name for Comiskey this year.
Yeah.
So it went from Comiskey Park to U.S. Cellular to Guaranteed Rate Field, and Guaranteed Rate Field, the logo is an arrow pointing down, which we talked about.
What successful franchises really want? They
want to be pointing downwards.
Yeah. I don't even. I mean, I get it. I get that they're trying to say, but the rates are going down.
Right.
But yeah, not a good team metaphor.
You know what's even better about it though is when it first happened and Bernstein and I were discussing it, he was like, "Dude, the logo is an upside down house. It's an arrow pointing down, but it looks like an upside down house."
You know what? That makes me so happy. He's like the most pretentious asshole sometimes, and so above everybody, and just biffs on the reference of the arrow and thinks it's an upside down house.
He knows it's an arrow, but he was like, it looks like an upside down house. I'm like, yeah, that's not good for a mortgage company.
Also bad. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
You don't want that.
Hey, I mean, it makes sense in a certain way, but oh god.
Yeah, but the Cubs are doing their thing now. I think they're solely back in first place. I know the Brewers, and you know what, Cub fans out there, you can actually thank me for what's happened to the Brewers. I was at my brother's house, my brother Dan out in Westmont. I'm at his house, and he has a hat for me. He's like, "It's too big for me. See if it fits you. You can just keep it."
What was he saying? Do you have like a giant ass melon?
Well, no, because it was a 7.5, and it's not the size he wears. Because I wear a 7 3/8.
Oh, it's a fit. He had a fitted cap. Hat, yeah.
And he was like, "Just take it." So bigger. I put it on backwards. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it." It's a navy blue hat, and it's a Brewers hat with the the MB logo. Looks like a baseball glove. I'm like, yeah, I'll wear this. I don't care that it's a Brewers hat, and I'm a Cubs fan. But ever since I got that hat, the Brewers fell apart. So
why? I don't understand.
Why what?
Why would you wear it? Like, not like, oh my god, I care so much. But I mean, like, what?
Oh, because I'm not that kind of. Because it's an awesome logo. It's a great logo. It's a great looking hat, and I don't give a crap about.
No, man, that's super
about
cool.
Other teams.
No, Milwaukee's the shit.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, knowing you and how important the Cubs are in your life. That just seems like an odd lid for you to rock.
I have 2 Sox hats, and I wear those too all the time. I got the 83 cap, which is one of my favorite uniforms in all of baseball.
The one with the red on it?
It's the red, white, and blue.
With
and
the bold.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of my favorite uniforms of all time in sports. And then I have one of the digital camo hats, so it's the brown digital camo with the black Sox logo on it, which is an awesome cap too. So yeah, I didn't care, but you can thank me for the Brewers falling apart, because once I got that cap, the Brewers started falling apart, and they've been terrible since the All-Star break.
So any teams that you would like to tank, actually,
I'm
going to do a personal request for you to send any of your Patriots gear to Matt, and he will gladly wear it so that team
will fall apart. You can email me at afdeshow@gmail.com. I'll tell you where to send me your Patriots caps or your Packers caps. They've got to be fitted. They've got to be cool, 7 3/8, and I'll wear them, and then that team will fall apart afterwards. So the Cubs can thank me. Cub fans can thank me for the Brewers falling apart. It's funny because my last day at the Score, May 10th, the Cubs were in Colorado playing the Rockies. The next time I turned on a Cubs game, it would have been, I don't know if it was late May or early June. I had no idea where they were at in the standings. I had no idea if they were doing good or bad. Had no idea if there were injuries. I turned on the game, and they were playing the Rockies again. And it was several weeks later, and I was like, all right, we're just playing the Rockies here all the time. I watched for a few pitches and turned off. I kind of checked out of sports. And I know right now the Bears, I think they opened up camp yesterday, but they had their first practice today.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre for me because this is the first time since 2003. 2002 was the last time I was not at Bears camp.
Right.
And I've been to Bourbonnais and at least for one show every year since 2003. So it's weird to not be down in Bourbonnais at some point.
I've actually, since I've known you, minus the internship, every year with whatever show you were working on, you were.
Yeah.
Wait, so you know what? Actually,
not Murph and Fred. So it was 03 when I first started with
Boris and
B&B.
Bernstein, but when did
I
they
started with them in August?
When did they switch to Olivet Nazarene? Do you remember?
I think it was 03. I think that was the first year they did it.
I was going to say, because they used to be in Platteville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 2003, my first year going down, was their first year in Bourbonnais.
Okay.
And, not that you would ever want to live in Bourbonnais, and no offense to Bourbonnais, having lived in the city, even in Libertyville and, Lyle.
The
and
growth
any other suburb, though.
How
but
crazy
still,
is that?
I know, but
like
I don't.
what it's become. I mean, they literally got so much money from the Bears that they
it's had a huge impact
yeah, it's crazy.
on it. And actually, the Holiday Inn Express in Bourbonnais, where we always stayed, great people, and they really took great care of us. And if they want to be a part of this podcast, they certainly can too as well. afdeshow@gmail.com.
Holiday Inn, welcome.
I feel smarter.
That's cool.
Having stayed there years ago. But it's a great town as far as the Bears camp's concerned, and they really do a good job of taking care of all the guests and radio idiots that were down there.
The team.
Well, yeah.
Awesome.
My favorite part about being in Bourbonnais was going out and seeing Alex Brown out and about wherever it was. It seems like I would go anywhere, and Alex would always be at the end of the bar eating a big basket of fries. I'd be like, dude, what are you doing?
I love
what
that.
Are you doing now?
That guy, man, I'm so glad that he was drafted by the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's become like an ambassador. Alex Brown is awesome.
No, he's great.
Awesome.
Alex is a super guy. Des Clark too, who I run into a lot in town. I always run into him at Mariano's. We're always there shopping alone at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. I always see him a lot. He's such a good dude. Just a nice guy.
Yeah. Somehow they're both like LinkedIn connections, and we've actually talked on LinkedIn about various, because they were curious about marketing. So yeah, it's awesome. Like I was like, whoa, man, Bears are talking to me. This is the shit.
Yeah, my buddy of mine who's the head coach at Deerfield High School, head football coach. Alex is on his staff now, and I was hanging out with Steve one night, and we called Alex one time, left him a message just to bust his balls a little bit about being a coach.
Wait, were you there when I think you were when my cousin did the same thing? You had his phone number and Jeremy called him? Yes. You were there.
No.
Hey, no, I mean,
true.
just kidding, Matt.
I was not part of that.
We just found it.
It was not part of that.
I was like walking around and I was
business
like,
card.
oh, look, I found Alex Brown's business card.
I would not do that. Did you hear the story about Jarrell Freeman?
In Austin?
Yeah, so he's at the Austin airport, and he's at this. My favorite part of the story was that he was at a taco bar in the Austin airport.
Have you ever been to that airport?
I never have. I know you've been to Austin. I've never been to Austin. It's a place. It's on my list to go.
It's the whole. You know how like you go to our local airports and it's. I don't even know how these stores are still open or restaurants are still open. They have like TGI Fridays and Chili's and all that shit. You go there and
those are still open all over the suburbs.
No, I know. Well, yeah, I don't know that. I've been out of state. B, well, I don't go to TGI Fridays anymore. I would. I
drove past one
giant
and I was like, wow, they're still open.
No, but so it's all.
Thank God it's Friday.
Barbecue and Tex-Mex and not chains. Like things that are exclusive to Austin.
Oh.
So it's like really good airport food, which just seems like an oxymoron.
Yeah, so he's at this taco bar, and I can't remember the name of the taco bar, and he's there. My favorite part of the story was him at the taco bar eating a brisket sandwich, which was the best part of it. So
because there are no seats, everybody goes to the barbecue place.
Okay.
But there are no seats, so they take their food and they go sit somewhere else. I've done the same thing.
Okay.
I sat in front of a Starbucks.
Well, that makes sense now, because in the story they made sure to tell you he was eating a brisket sandwich.
Yep.
And notices this dude, I think Marcus Ryan was his name. He's frantic at this table and looking around the table, and he was choking. And so Jarrell Freeman goes up and gives him the Heimlich and basically saves his life, and then posted pictures on social media that football player saved his life. And here's what's going to happen to that guy. Like, Freeman is going to be dudes with that guy. He's going to end up like somehow getting to a Bears game with tickets from Freeman. He's going to take care of him in Chicago. Like, that's how it always happens. Why? Because he was choking on food at a taco bar in an Austin airport. I mean, geez. How many times have you heard that story before?
Never.
Right.
But it's always cool. I mean, like, do you ever hear any super lame athlete friend stories? I mean, I'm sure they probably happen all the time, but you don't hear about them. I love the ones where it's like, I'm sorry, your friend's how?
Yeah,
exactly?
Right. Well, I was choking on a taco at a Austin airport, and Jarrell Freeman gave me the Heimlich, and now we're best friends.
Yeah, when we hang out.
Right.
We lay off the pork every now and again, but
well, depends, I guess, who you are. And then what else came up in the NFL? That CTE report that came out where they studied 202 brains of deceased players from high school on up to the professional level. And I want to say 111 of the NFL players' brains, 110 had shown signs of CTE.
Right.
And these are players from like well-known, like Ken Stabler, on to like no-name players as well.
And earlier, I mean, it was.
Yeah, I think that they said the players were 23 to 89 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was either 21 or 23 to 89.
Yeah.
But the players, if you look at some of the ones listed, are even before Stabler. So these are, like posthumous research.
Right.
And there are actually a lot of athletes where the families would not give permission. They did give permission for the examination, but not for the names
for the examiner to release the names. Right.
Yeah. But
because I'm reading and I was like, all right, well, who's the one guy that didn't show signs of CTE? And I'm going through the story, and then that family did not want the examiner to release the name. But it was all, and I think the biggest number, I think 44 out of the 110 or 111, 44 were linemen. And that's just, again, that just goes to show that it's not about those like severe concussions that take a guy out of a game. It's just, I mean, the constant it's subconcussive hits that a lineman takes
play after play.
I mean, dude, and that's the majority of it. Yeah, you pulled up there. That's the majority of it. 44 were linemen.
Right.
And then, like, running backs, that makes sense. Defensive back, that makes sense to you. But for linemen to be the highest number.
But at this, I mean, if you think about it, at this level, every single play, even when the whistle blows, after the whistle blows, people are taking headshots.
Right.
Like, and these are some of the most dominant athletes on the planet.
Right.
300 plus pounds colliding.
Right.
I mean, they compare these things to car wrecks.
Car accidents, right.
I mean, and it's not a joke. Like, it's crazy. I mean, and I think we're going to get into it now, but it's hard to, like, pick out where we stand. And I think Matt and I are going to talk about it, but my stance has changed over the last 5 years dramatically. Because I used to be like, hey, man, they picked this. Let's go.
Well, okay, so here's where I'm at with it. Because, first of all, so I have two sons. They're never going to play football of any organized level at all. And they're certainly not at a young age when brains are still developing, and it's most important to be protective
whatsoever,
of the brain. And, the NFL and Roger Goodell can talk all about trying to develop safety precautions to reduce the injuries and to reduce the actual damage of head hits. It's impossible. So this is all I want from the NFL. I just want the NFL to be upfront and honest. Because I just want them to, here's the research. It's most likely that if you play football at the NFL level, you're going to suffer brain damage after your career is over. Just be honest about it. And here's a waiver. We will help you financially, and up to this level, this is what we will do to help you and your family if you are suffering, you can't perform regular life duties after football is over. Just be honest and say, we'll give you X amount of dollars. We'll give you X amount of care and service. It's a $12 billion industry. They can help these guys. Be honest. Sign waivers that you're not going to hold the NFL responsible. Because you want to know what's going to happen? Maybe 2 to 5% of guys aren't going to play football that actually can.
Right. I mean, and we've actually seen for the first time in the last...
Where guys retire and they I don't want to do this.
And young guys.
Right, but you're talking about one guy a year, 2 guys, 3 guys.
Oh, yeah.
I saw Michael Strahan on TV the other day. He said even if there was a test that could show you while you're alive that you were developing CTE, he was like, I would not stop playing.
No.
Guys that I know would not stop playing.
Most.
Just stop pretending to be, the NFL needs to stop pretending that they're going to do things to prevent head trauma and concussions and CTE. Just be honest and say,
acknowledging it.
Right. Just acknowledge it and say, playing football at this level, playing football at any level, but particularly at the NFL level, causes brain damage. And if you play, you are most likely going to suffer brain damage after your career is over. But we're going to do X, and X, XYZ to help you out after your career is over.
Like,
here's a waiver. Do you want to play?
Like health benefits post.
Right.
Remember the thing that Ditka's been fighting for forever?
Health benefits, and you know what? And if you die, there's a life insurance that we're going to give you for your family. Right. Because you're going to take away years of your life and support to your family. We're going to help you out. Who wants to play? Sign this waiver. This is what we'll do for you. Just be honest about it. Stop being stop lying about it. Like, we're trying to find ways. Helmets don't prevent concussions.
It's typical business protection, and it's not something that I can say, man. I agree with everything that you're saying, but it's not like it's like any other business. When something bad happens, it's like. But you've got someone to protect yourself. Manage that stuff.
But here's the thing, though.
It's not good, but it is what it is.
But this is the thing. The NFL isn't regular business. It's fantasy world, man. It's fantasy world. It's not real life.
No.
It's a $12 billion playground.
Well, that and the amount of people that actually make it. Like the amount of people out of the general population who actually become professional athletes.
I mean, how many great college players fail at the NFL level?
Or don't make it.
Or don't even get close.
You know who
I mean, look at one of the greatest college players of our time, Tim Tebow.
Oh my God!
The guy is a failure as an NFL player. Just be real.
Right.
Be real and stop being this holier-than-thou phony piece of crap that Roger Goodell is, and just say, if you play at this level, you are most likely going to suffer brain damage after your career. Here's what we will do to help your family and you after your career. Here's a waiver. Do you still want to play?
I think he needs to, honestly... it's time. I think he needs to wrap it up. Not because...
Oh, he's never going to. Because,
I know.
What, $45 million a year or two ago is what he made? The owners love him?
Yeah. The greed and the denial of everything is just it's become disgusting. And I don't know how anyone... of course the owners like him. You know, I mean, and that's what it's all about. But it's like, my God, these players are... I don't use this term often, literally killing themselves
to play this
for
game.
Our enjoyment.
Our entertainment, yep.
And
for their financial benefit.
Right.
The owners and Roger Goodell. It's the phoniness is what irritates me. I'm not mad at you because playing, the NFL causes brain damage. I may
at
be
this point,
I may be an asshole.
It's not surprising.
It's not my brain.
Right.
So if you want to entertain me, go ahead and entertain me. But you should at least get some benefits for it and at least have your league be honest about it.
Right.
Just be honest. Just say you are going to most likely develop a brain disease that is going to dramatically alter and change and shorten your life. If you want to do it, here's what we'll do. If you don't, thank you. Want to know why? Because there are 35 other guys in line behind that guy who won't play that will play.
Right.
There are 3,000 other guys that will play behind that guy. Just be honest about it. Stop being phony and making billions of dollars every year. That's what bothers me about it. Because if they were just honest about it, the league, people will say, oh, the NFL is going to go away. It's going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. It'll never go away. Football will always be here. When NFL players tell you, if I know that I'm going to end up with CTE, I would still play the game. I have heard that from so many
Hall
players.
of Famers. Not just current player, Hall of Famers.
Michael Strahan said it on TV.
I
If there was even a test that you could do while you were alive to show that you were developing CTE, he goes, I wouldn't take it because I wouldn't want to know. I would still play.
Yep.
He's not the only one. He's the majority of people.
He's without question the majority.
It's irritating. You know what? The thing that bothers me about it with Goodell and the NFL is they talk to the public who supports it financially with their time and their money. Obviously, if I were to go away from the NFL as a fan, the NFL is still going to thrive.
Right.
It's still going to go with all the corporate money. But it's just I'm choosing to give my time and money to the NFL if I buy tickets or buy an NFL package, whatever it might be. Just stop talking to me like I'm an idiot and stop lying to me.
Well, the arrogance, the absolute arrogance that the fan is an idiot and we don't get it. Like we totally get it.
Right.
And I consider myself to be an educated fan, not just
absolutely 100% you are.
But
yep.
I played. I love it. I've done analysis of it. It's something that's like innate in me, but I'm not blind or dumb. Like it's
right. So don't talk to me like I am.
Right. But
that's what they
do.
And
it's so they just generalize. Like, all right, well, typical fan, they just want to see it. You know what? Yeah, I do want to see football. I love it. But I can at least respect the fact at what these gladiators are doing to themselves for my enjoyment. Yeah, they're getting paid, but they're still damaging themselves on every single play.
And yes, they get paid, but the NFL doesn't have guaranteed contracts.
Nope. It's not like baseball and basketball.
And
like
you could get dumped
can get chucked
anytime they want
with no guaranteed money, or you have to pay back money.
Right.
I mean, you're leaving with knee injury. There's nothing like it.
Be
There's
upfront.
Nothing like it.
Here's the deal: playing football at any level causes brain injury. Playing at the NFL level is the most extreme case. You are most likely going to walk away with a brain injury. Your life is going to be shortened. You're going to be taken away from your family. You're not going to live the same life that you could have without playing football. We will take care of your family. We'll take care of you. Here's how we'll do it. 1, 2, 3. Want to play? Here's a waiver. Just do that. Just stinking do that. Be honest. There's no denying it anymore. There's no denying that playing football does not cause brain injury. It does.
At any level, but professional level, it's something else. It's
of course
something else. When we were kind of setting up what we were going to talk about, current events and stuff, I was reading this article, and it made me think. Matt sent me a text probably maybe 2 weeks ago. We were talking about Any Given Sunday, and I think like LT, I love that he's in it because that guy's story is just awesome. But the fact that, remember, they made him completely aware of what one more hit could do to his brain.
And he needed that bonus.
And he said, make me eligible. I will shake like a leaf on a tree. They made him completely aware that one hit could end his life or paralyze him. And he's like, I need the bonus.
Right.
I guarantee that is a giant amount of these guys, and that's fine. You know what? Because football is their life.
That's not a made-up storyline.
No, it's their life.
Right.
It's their life. They play for their family and their livelihood. It's their life. That's all they know. That's what they're good at. That's what they want to do.
Right, because as Strahan was talking about it, and this is a Hall of Fame player that he wouldn't want to know. He would keep playing. It didn't matter to him. He talks about this is a situation for a lot of NFL players to not only change their lives, but to change generations. I mean, the generational wealth, the difference that playing in the NFL can do for some of these guys. And Strahan says that's not going to change people's minds.
No.
Having, a brain injury that shortens your life or drastically alters your quality of life, that's not going to stop these guys from playing if they can change multi-generations in their family.
Right.
It's just time to be honest and upfront about it. That's what bothers me. All right, moving on to other stuff. As we get the dramatic, fired up stuff out of the way. I don't know if you saw this story or not about one of my favorite guys. I know you love him too, Justin Bieber. I don't know if you are up on what's going on in Justin Bieber, but I love this character, man. So he's in the news today. Last night, I guess, he was leaving a church service, got in his truck, and there was paparazzi all around him, guys taking pictures of him just getting in his truck and driving. He actually hit a member of the paparazzi with his truck. Hit the guy. Now it wasn't intentional, and he got out of the car and he was talking to the guy to make sure he was okay. The police came and he fully cooperated with the whole thing. But if you don't know what's going on with him, he actually just recently canceled the rest of his world tour. It's something like the Purpose Tour. But he canceled his world tour because he just rededicated his life to the Lord, and he's going to some church called Hillsong. I guess it's a real big mega church thing, and Carl Lentz, I want to say, if I'm remembering the story, is the pastor's name, and he's buddies with Pastor Carl. And there are some rumors from this story that he canceled the tour because of rededicating his life to the Lord, and he might be in the works or talking about starting his own church.
What? All right. Yeah, I don't.
Come on.
I just feel
Would you not want to go to Justin Bieber's church? Come on.
I mean, as a joke, I think he's a total clown. But
no, dude. And if I were to sit down and evaluate it late at night, like I do, I think about life.
You think about Bieber a lot.
And I think, all right, if I want to model my life after someone, I don't want to do it after Jesus. I want to do it after Justin Bieber.
Jesus Bieber. What, man? Honestly, I feel like he's just our newest example of stop giving kids money.
That's what it seems like.
They complete. You know what? All right. This might be a topic for another show, but here's something I was actually thinking about when Matt sent me some suggestions and about current events. I'm like, Bieber, Jesus. Like, we could go a long time on this clown. But Matt and I are in our 40s. We've seen, like, children, actors, musicians get a ton of money. And what's the percentage of people that aren't just complete fuck ups, like just completely derail, and come from and they have like horrible parents,
right,
that steal their money, like
and use them just for the financial gain.
He feels to me just like another example of a brat who got a bunch of cash who's now kind of a mess.
Yeah. Well, on a personal level, just because I would like to see the guy doing well. Not that I know him or anything,
I don't
but
wish any ill will on any of them.
It's just
apart and you see the pattern,
right? And if this is a change in his life, that's great. And I really hope it is. And if he really is, following Christ, great. I'm happy for the guy. It just, but when I hear things like he wants to start his own church, it just seems like there's something more.
But
there's something more.
Ridiculous.
There's an underlying story here to more than just he's gotten back on track and he's following the Lord.
He's got some. There's clearly this dude's like partying too much. I mean, he's literally banned from certain countries.
Is it China? He's
China.
banned? China.
And the funny thing,
in China, they let you do anything.
Well, no, that's not true.
Oh,
they're communist. They don't let you do shit.
Oh, really?
No, he's banned from there, but not due to things that he did in China, due to his previous behavior. They're like, nope, sorry. I mean,
and honestly, the only reason I really care, and you can laugh at me, and people listening can laugh. I think the dude's super talented. I mean, I like a lot of his music. I think I enjoy that garbage, so I'm fine with that. So
I'm
completely that too.
Completely indifferent on the music.
Yeah.
It's just I just see the pattern with man. I mean, like I don't know what I would have done if I were barely a teenager. And just
with his kind of talent,
just becoming a millionaire.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
well, I think I think you'd have been fine because of the parents that you have, and maybe that's what the key is.
Yeah, and that is important.
The people in your life that are your supervisors, your adults, your people that are there to look out for you. And I think that might have been a big difference.
I think so too.
Something that you do love because Bieber clearly isn't it is Anchorman, and I saw this story about the Anchorman is being made into a casino game, and Champ Kind and Brian Fantana have agreed to allow their images to be used for this casino game. I'm not a big casino guy. I'd rather spend money on things or keep it
like food and rent,
or just don't have it to go to a casino.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't to go play a slot machine, I certainly would want to go play the Anchorman slot machine.
So it's Rudd and Keckner?
Yeah, Rudd and Keckner, and obviously, and already on it, Anchorman himself, Ron Burgundy, and Steve Carell's character.
Brick
Tamlin? Yeah. So the four of them will be on it, and this Rudd and Keckner agreed to do it, or agreed to have it done, or they probably negotiated the proper amounts of money to get it done. So,
but you know what, those guys, none of them seem. I mean, obviously they make money and stuff, but that Anchorman thing became something else.
Yeah,
like there's no way they thought that movie was going to be what it was.
It was classic.
I honestly think it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Like, I love that character is so ridiculous.
Yep.
It's amazing.
We used to watch back at the lodge out in Lisle at our apartment. We used to watch Anchorman all the time, like on DVD.
Yeah,
and
I have both of them on DVD. Blu-ray.
Mike Horn, who did our intro work for us, the voiceover, he was always over, and we were always watching it. We watched it so much we actually broke the DVD. It stopped working. Not the machine, the actual DVD itself just stopped playing as we played it and watched it so much.
Do you ever notice? Well, I don't know if this happened to you, but it's definitely happened to me. If I have a certain perspective on something or a certain situation is happening, I go to his voice, but it's completely
inappropriate, or
no, it's completely like subliminal. I'm not in my mind like, what would be a great delivery is to do this in Ron Burgundy's voice. It's more like something happens,
right? And
it's my whole group of friends that like live in the city. We all do this, and it's not. You don't think it's going to come, and all of a sudden you're like, well, you just have that ridiculous voice, and then I'm like, oh my god! Like you notice when it happens, but I'm not thinking about it. It's not.
I've watched Anchorman hundreds of times. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. Anchorman 2, one time.
Okay, I bought it. Trish and I just watched it. That's my wife. For those of you who have no idea who Trish is, and
Trish is a girl he hires online to come over and watch movies.
Yeah, I'm literally like, can you just come by and watch the sequel to Anchorman?
I don't want you to touch me. I just want to watch a movie with you
on our new couch. No, I think I liked 2 just because I just like him saying things. That, and there's a line in it that says, "I want to shoot a blowtorch in your dick hole." Like, it's funny. And he becomes friends with a shark.
Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd. That was last night or the night before, and I was texting you. I came across Role Models. Oh. I just think that's a hysterical movie. I love his character in that, and I'll watch anything he's in. He's one of my favorites. But Role Models is a great stupid movie.
He's, what I like about Rudd is he reminds me a lot of Jason Bateman.
Yep.
Where they kind of did some. Well, Bateman really. We were talking about this the other day. Really like. Disappeared after being in like an 80s sitcom.
You mean when his career died?
Yeah.
Well, vanished?
I mean, what do you do? There are not a lot of people who evolved from 80s sitcoms. They're kind of like pop icons, but they didn't do anything after that.
But he came back, and I love the second half of his career.
Oh my god!
And where he's at, what he's doing.
But he got brought back in Arrested Development, and has become that guy.
He was the lawyer friend in The Breakup.
Yep.
Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn
Anything
movie.
He's in.
And then he did another one with Aniston. Where she gets pregnant.
Change Up or something like that.
Whatever it's called. And
was Reynolds the other guy? I don't know.
No. Well, no. That's a different one. That's the one where they become each other.
Yeah.
Like in like the one guy's spirit goes in the other guy's body. The change up,
which is completely a new take on that movie.
What is the Jennifer Aniston one where she has a baby by a donor and he's really in love with her? They're like best friends. It
ends up being him as the sperm donor.
Right, because he ended up spilling the sperm donor's sperm, and then he
refilled it.
He refilled it by looking at Diane Sawyer. Yeah,
I don't know. Magazine. Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot. It was like Time Magazine.
Right.
Oh my god. Well, no.
If you're
typical
in your 40s,
rom-com formula.
Well, if you're in your 40s, you would know what a JCPenney catalog did to you as a kid.
Or Sears.
The Sears
is
catalog?
That bras? Right. Oh, the bras.
Are those bras in giant panties? Let me look at those. Those look sexy as hell.
Oh yeah, G-string was only on guitars back then. That was not on underpants. No way.
Right. All they sold back then were like mom underpants.
Yeah, what is that? I don't know. It can also double as a kite.
Why are those so... Is that a diaper?
No. They did look like
those
diapers.
Those are underwear from the 80s, son.
Mommy, wow.
Mommy, why do you wear diapers at night? No, those aren't diapers. Those are underwear. Oh, speaking of my mom, I was watching a show with her the other day. I love moms.
This is impressive. Moms
impressive. Are the best. We were flipping through the channels, and I gave her the remote. I'm like, because I generally either binge watch a TV show or watch movies. I don't watch anything else. And she didn't like my choice of movie, so I gave her the remote. I'm like, whatever you want. So she comes across the new Gong show, and she's like, "Oh, Matthew, have you watched this?" And I'm like, "No, I don't watch regular TV. It's so funny. It's one of my favorite shows." I'm like, "Well, leave it on. We can watch it." So we're watching, and she's like, there's something so odd about this host, though. He really reminds me of Mike Myers. I'm like, okay. So I'm watching the show, and it took me all of 10 seconds to realize that's Mike Myers in makeup. So I go to the Google machine, and I Googled, the Gong Show Mike Myers, and sure enough, it's Mike Myers playing some character. full makeup, and he's in full character the whole time. And I'm like, Mom, there's a reason why this guy reminds you of Mike Myers. Oh, Matthew, why is that? Well, Mom, because it is Mike Myers in character, in makeup, playing this guy Tommy or whatever the hell his name is. Oh, Matthew, I knew there was something about him that reminded me of Mike Myers. Well, Mom, is it because he is Mike Myers? Is that what reminded you of him? That it's Mike Myers? It wasn't entertaining, wasn't funny. The character was stupid, but I watched it for Mom, and that was all it was. But
oh man, props to moms.
Right, the
Seriously.
fact that she actually
how many
recognized,
moms
right,
are like, that guy reminds me of. You would think it was going to be some random ass reference from like the 50s. I think that's the guy from Leave It to Beaver. Right. No, I think that's Mike Myers.
No, that was good.
Your mom's on her game, man.
Impressive
Matthew.
that she
Matthew.
Funny that you Matthew. That's what I get called, or one of my brother's names, because that's what older people do is they call you the wrong name.
Well, my brother is. They're both when they're when you're all in trouble.
Yeah,
they're Jason doesn't have, like, it's not Jay Solomon like Jason's mine, but Matthew, Christopher.
Right.
Yeah, they get the full
name.
Yep.
My mom when she would get mad when I was a kid. My mom, and I don't know if she still is. I haven't heard her swear in a long time, but she was the world's worst swearer.
Oh God.
Because she would put the wrong words together. Instead of like son of a bitch, it's a son of an asshole. I mean, because she just didn't know how to swear.
Yeah, but those are hilarious.
Well, they are hilarious. But then when she's mad, and she's mad at you, and she's like yelling and swearing and saying the wrong things, you make it worse because all you do is laugh at her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely reached a certain
You stupid
age.
mother bitch!
Yeah.
Like, okay, Mom, that's not what it is.
That's
though.
great, though.
Right, it is great.
Mother Beach.
That's not what you're supposed to say.
No.
You just said 1950s references, and it brought me back to a job I had.
Matt's very old.
I was getting some
job.
sales pointers.
Yeah, so I had a nice comb over, and I had a paper route.
I was getting sales pointers and some tips on how to make sales from this older gentleman. And some of the references he made in the 10-minute conversation, W.C. Fields, Ralph Nader, and Columbo were the references. And I'm sitting there going, might be time to just hang up the old sales shoes and call it quits, because your references are a bit outdated.
Does he go on calls in like a trench coat?
I don't know, but there was the possibility of going on a call with me, which I wanted to avoid at all costs.
Or bring him to someone who is already like a client, just for the entertainment value.
Right. Someone who's already paid money.
This guy's already paying, but I am rolling in with this old guy who...
There was a TV show actually on WTTW, and as a kid called This Old Guy.
For real?
No.
Okay. I remember the network. I definitely don't remember the show.
You know what? This Old House?
I do.
Yeah.
Bob Vila?
Yeah, Bob
He's
Vila.
been like the
This
butt
Old
of my
House.
jokes for years. I don't know why. He seems like a nice enough guy, but I'm like, Bob Vila.
No, This Old House. So that was what I watched with my dad. This Old House. Well, unless it was the Friday night lineup of like Love Boat and Fantasy Island, we watched This Old House, The Frugal Gourmet with, I think, Jeff Smith.
Yes. Did you ever watch
Julia Childs?
Svengoolie?
Svengoolie.
I used to watch that with my dad all the time.
And then what else did we watch on WTTW? Oh, the painter guy who was like locked in the basement.
Bob Ross.
Yes.
That was him for Halloween last year.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Trish was the painting.
Oh.
We made her boobs the peak, the mountains.
And Trish, by the way, is Jason's wife, not a woman he hires online to dress up as Halloween costumes with him.
I mean,
he pays her to
do both.
You could.
I could be married to her and hire her online to dress up and stuff.
Is that some of the fantasies you guys do?
No, yeah.
Can you be an online talented expert that I can hire?
Matt's air quoting. Oh, for the love of Gerd. What's our next topic?
Our next topic is saying farewell to our brand new friends listening to the Abbatacola and Ferrari podcast. We've touched on everything. We've gotten everything.
True.
Did we miss anything?
No.
Anything else you want to get into before we say goodbye?
Well, yeah. So just show logistics. We're gonna, probably gonna say AFDE show a lot, because saying Abbatacola and Ferrari discuss everything might get a little cumbersome and overwhelming for you, and just take up our value airwaves.
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful.
Like us.
So if you want to follow along on Twitter, do so at AFDE Show. You can connect on Facebook at facebook.com/AFDE Show. Email us anything about the show. You have a place you want us to do a remote down the road, because we will eventually do that. afdeshow@gmail.com. And of course, we are presented by Mickey Finn's, Lake County's oldest brew pub, located at 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville. Hit them up on Twitter as well, at Mickey Finn's. Thanks for listening to the inaugural podcast of Abbatacola and Ferrari Discuss Everything. We will see you next time.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.